welcome to my kitchen. I'm Cathy Neptune, and we're doing something very seasonal tonight, and I'm going to show you tips and give you ideas and tools to make your time in the kitchen fun, fast, and fabulous. A great seasonal recipe tonight. It is something you can really use all year long, and I'll give you some tips on how to do that, as well as variations. So we're doing a turkey cranberry ring, and we're going to use either leftover turkey, or what's really fun about this recipe is that you can use deli turkey, like a turkey breast in whatever flavor that you have. And I want to start by thanking Shaw's once again for their generosity and kindness in supporting this program. All of our fresh ingredients for these recipes this evening are through the generosity of Shaw's, and we thank them. So let's get started. And by the way, for dessert too, if you eat all your dinner, you get to have dessert here. And we're going to do a cranberry apple cookie cobbler, a really great variation with some wonderful fresh apples. So we're going to start out by preparing the ring. And this is a wonderful technique that you're going to want to try at home with some different fillings that I'm going to tell you about. Now I'm going to show you this wonderful technique, and I'm going to give you ideas for different fillings as we go along. Now you're going to want 2 packages of the popping crescent roll dough. And a great way to do this symmetrically is to start out with we have one whole package here that's separated into triangles. And you want to set out 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then fill in all the way around. And make sure your crescent roll dough is refrigerated right up until the time that you're going to use it. You don't want these setting out too long, or they get very, very soft. And they're not very easy to work with. So you can see we separate these, and we're filling in all the way around like this. And it comes out even. It took me a long time to figure out how to get them symmetrical, and it's a matter of geometrics doing this, and it works out great. And you know, if you don't, oh, that's our oven timer going off, that our oven is preset at 350 degrees. And I was going to say, it doesn't matter if it's not that even or if it's perfect, because this goes on the bottom anyway, so nobody's going to see this. Nobody should be looking that closely. Now you want to take a rolling pin, and I love this tool. And again, if you want ideas and tips on where to get these tools, so many of you have emailed me for the recipes and resources for these wonderful tools, because as you know, like building a house, you need the right tools. So we want to leave a hole in the middle because we're making a ring. And if you remember this technique as being like a sunburst, doesn't that look like a sun? I hope it does. And that is the base for our filling. And we're going to set that aside right now. We'll just even that out. And in this bowl, I have layered and pre-mixed. We have a combination of about a half a cup of mayonnaise. You can use light mayonnaise, not salad dressing. A little Dijon mustard, about 2 tablespoons. Black pepper, and 2 cups or about 12 ounces of turkey breast or leftover turkey from your holiday meals. And to that also about a half a cup of chopped celery, a half a cup of sun-dried tomatoes, and about 4 ounces of cheddar or Swiss cheese. And you can prepare this ahead of time. It's easy to do. And I'll show you again with my favorite tool. So many of you asked me about information about the food chopper that just works like this. It rotates around and around. And look at how easy this is. This is the turkey breast from the deli, again from Shaw's supermarket. Nothing but the best. And we have all that together. We're going to take that with my little handy scraper that's nice when you have chopped on your cutting board. We're going to add that to our bowl. And another thing I love about this recipe, you can prepare these ingredients the night before and then just assemble it at the time you want to make it and prepare it for you or your guests or your family. And look at all the colors in this. Now, sometimes I've added chopped walnuts to this if you'd like, but I find a lot of people are allergic to them, so I don't really add them because of preference. And we blend that together. And you can either use a scoop or you can just use a spatula and put it in there. This is really a nice way to get it even. But again, it doesn't really matter because nobody's going to see the inside until you cut into it. So don't be too fussy about it. Make it easy for yourself. Now, some of the other things, think of all the wonderful things you can put inside of this crust, which is our crescent rolls. I do a hamburger and cheese filling and do like a Philly cheesesteak. You can add mushrooms to it. I do a Reuben, especially this time of year, with the sauerkraut and corned beef and Thousand Island dressing. And I put a little bit of Dijon or whatever mustard you prefer on the crust, and it makes a wonderful filling. You could even do a brunch ring like this and softly scramble eggs with some, say, green onions and ham and cheese, or a sloppy Joe mixture, or even something as simple as meatballs and sauce and cheese inside. And be creative. Use your leftovers, use your ideas, use your family favorite ingredients, a ham and cheese. Perfect. Then I'm going to take the points and fold them up and over and just tuck them a little bit in the other side. And if you forget how to make this, think about the only thing that you're cooking in this recipe is what? It's really the crescent rolls. Everything else is pre-cooked, and that's the secret to this recipe, is that you're only baking the crescent rolls. So, in worst case, you forget how to do this, just follow the ingredients on how to cook the crescent rolls, and you're good to go. So we're folding it over. And there you go, inside. Now, if I was doing turkey for Thanksgiving, when I serve this, I would heat up some stuffing and take the same scoop, wash off your scoop, and put in scoops of your dressing in the center of this, and set it on the table in a beautiful platter, and you're ready to go. So how easy is this? And I encourage you to try this at home with your favorite ingredients, and you'll be absolutely amazed. You could bring this at any potluck or serve it to company. It looks fabulous when it comes out. So we're going to bake this in the oven that we've preheated at 350. And basically, when the crescent rolls are finished, then your recipe is done. And now we're going to take a few minutes to do some preparation for our dessert, a cranberry apple cookie cobbler. You're going to love it. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're ready now for our dessert for this evening. We're doing a cranberry apple cookie cobbler. And there's so many different types of apple desserts. You can do a crumble on top, you could do a pastry crust, but this is certainly something that's simple, easy, and it's really fabulous to do. We have about 6 to 7 green Granny Smith apples that I've used, my favorite tool in the kitchen for apples that I've used on several shows, and that's the Apple Peelacora Slicer. And if you don't have one, but please email me if you'd like information on how to get one to use for potatoes and for apples. You can just peel your apple and slice it like so into chunks. And again, my favorite, my apple of choice this time of year are the green Granny Smiths, because they don't turn brown as quickly as some of the other apples, and they're always fresh, and it's a hardcore apple. that really gives you a good result. And you can just rough chop it. And again, I'm not very fussy on the presentation because it's all going to be layered underneath a crust. So we have a bowl full of apples. Now this is my favorite part. And this here is a can of whole berry cranberry sauce. And again, thank you to Shaw's for providing all these wonderful ingredients. And we're just going to take the whole can, because we're doing a pie, using a pie plate rather, but you could do a square baking dish or a lasagna pan and double this recipe to serve quite a few people. So we're going to put that in there. Into this, we're going to add a mixture of flour and sugar. And again, send me an email and I'll be happy to give you the exact proportions of this recipe. And it's about 1/3 cup of sugar with about a tablespoon of flour mixed in. And that adds a sweetness. The green Granny Smith apples tend to be a little tartar than most. So you certainly want to use a sugar with that. And this you could prepare ahead of time. Sometimes if you didn't want to do a pie, you could put this right in the microwave with a little bit of water and make a wonderful applesauce as well. And store it in the refrigerator, let it cool down, and it's a wonderful addition to any meal, especially with pork or chicken or your holiday turkeys and meals. I love whole berry cranberry sauce. It just adds a wonderful color and texture and sweetness. And I'm going to take a pie dish or your dish of choice. And again, it all blends in together. Don't worry too much if it doesn't have to be thoroughly blended together. This is a dish too that your children could do and help you in the kitchen, because I find if children are fussy eaters, if they help prepare things in the kitchen, then it becomes their own recipe and they're more apt to eat it. It's a good tip to do. Now we'll set that aside. You can flatten it out a little bit like so. If you had whole cranberries, which are available this time of year, you could certainly add those as well, or dried cranberries. If you do the fresh cranberries, add a little bit more sugar. I would add probably twice as much sugar and use that to sweeten the cranberries. Now the best part of this recipe here, I think, is the crust. I've taken a package of sugar cookie dough and you put it in the freezer and you keep it in the freezer and you slice it while it's frozen. Now this is frozen solid, but it has a wonderful texture when you cut it and slice it, that it comes out evenly. And you could get creative with a pattern on this, but basically what we're going to do, I always start from the outside and layer your frozen sugar cookie dough. You don't need to let it thaw before you bake it either. And put this on the top. Imagine if you had a rectangle or lasagna pan, what wonderful patterns you could have on top with the cookie dough. And again, be creative with it. You could certainly do a different spice kind of cookie if you want, like a gingerbread cookie on the top for the Christmas holiday season. How fun would that be? And when these bake, what happens is they kind of puff up a little bit and bake together. And you have a wonderful crust that's vented naturally in between each slice of cookie. And you can slice them thin or thick, however you want, and bake it according to the cookie directions at 350. And I'd probably do this size pie for probably about 45 minutes at 350 degrees. And it smells so good when it's baking. You can serve it hot or cold with ice cream or whipped cream. I love to take a prepared whipped topping and put a little cinnamon in it and then serve it on the top. It's wonderful. Sometimes I add a little bit of orange zest in there if you'd like. Maybe later on in the season when your apples are out of season, it just brings a really nice brightness to your apple flavor. But it's beautiful, and I want to show you what I did. You can also do individual servings, such as this, in a little individual pie dish. Top it with whipped cream. You can warm those in the microwave, serve them at room temperature. No matter what shape dish you have, this accommodates any size, shape, or volume for people. At a Christmas or a holiday gathering, during Thanksgiving, any fall season when you're gathering with family and friends, this is such a favorite recipe for everybody. So I hope you're going to try this at home and email me for the recipes. And we're going to check to see if our cranberry turkey wreath is ready right now, our turkey ring. It needs a few more minutes, but you can see how nicely browned it is getting, and we're going to slice it and serve it. So we'll be back shortly. Okay, now I think our turkey cranberry ring is ready to take from the oven. So wait until you see this. It's amazing. Remember, it's filling in crescent rolls. And how beautiful is this? Pretty nice. All the filling is pre-cooked. Remember, there's nothing that needs to be cooked in this particular assembly and filling except for the crescent rolls. And you can do a little bit, as I said, you can heat up some leftover stuffing and put it in the center, or you can just make it like this. If you do a sandwich filling like this with like ham and cheese filling, I take it from the oven all warm and bubbly, and you can put potato chips in the middle. Makes a beautiful, beautiful presentation. And the baking stone that I use too is the best way to cook all your pastries evenly. You can see on the bottom and on the top that nothing sticks. We didn't have to put any oil or anything on this stone. And it comes off the pan so easily, and look at how beautiful this is. Wouldn't you be proud to serve this to your family and friends? I certainly am, and I do it quite often. You can see the dried cranberries running through it. There's celery and turkey and cheese. Sometimes I add a little bit of rice, so you could do I added an apple in this. It's wonderful. Absolutely fabulous. And together with our individual cranberry apple cookie cobbler, you have a fabulous, easy, and quick family dinner. So again, I want to thank Shaw's for their kindness and generosity. I want to thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you'll try these recipes, and may the fork be with you.